Welcome back to Stories from the River. Hello, Caitlin.
Hello, Charlie.
I am here with Caitlin Walsh, our esteemed executive assistant extraordinaire, and like a jack of all trades, a little bit of everything, right? And Caitlin, we're here to talk about something fun today, something unique that we did as a team for the company called Around the Crown 10K Race. All right, thanks for being on the pod.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, you ready to go?
Ready to go.
Here we go.
Let's rock.
Welcome to Stories from the River, a show in which we go behind the scenes at Broad River Retail.
All right, so Caitlin, was this your first ever 10K race?
First ever 10K race.
And have you done races before in the past?
So back when I was living in New York, I did a couple of 5K races.
Okay.
Big fan of running, but unfortunately moving down here, I kind of lost a little bit of that passion. Very grateful for meeting you because it kind of brought me back to that passion. So this was my first time ever going anything above 3 miles.
Okay, wow.
So yeah.
Oh, in a race.
In a race.
And you've been in Charlotte now for how long?
8 months.
8 months. Okay. And you've been with Broad River for about 6 months?
6 months.
Okay,
Yep.
wonderful.
Half a year.
And so what convicted you to do the Around the Crown? And Around the Crown is going to love the publicity we're giving them today.
Oh, yeah.
We did this as a team last year, and we did this with Manny Rodriguez, my business partner and our chief operating officer, and Justin Barnes, who came down from Maryland and made the 8-hour drive to join us. He's another Ashley licensee in Maryland and Delaware. And Tim Sales, our director of facilities and safety and construction. And so it was the four of us who did Team Memory Maker last year. And then, Tim's not doing really running right now. Justin couldn't make it down. And then Manny, who's like, I like to call Speedy Gonzalez.
I would agree.
Yeah, he's really gotten into this running. Well, he did the Yasso the Yasso Greek Fest 5K the week before, and he did a record pace. But he tweaked his hamstring, so he's out with an injury. He couldn't come back this week, and so we had to put together a team.
Yes, we did.
Now,
Dream team, I think.
A dream team. I love it. So, what convicted you to join Team Memory Maker for your first ever 10K?
So I'm going to have to give all the credit to you on this.
Well, I'm not looking for the credit.
But I mean, in all honesty, I think, ever since starting this job a few months ago, fitness has always been a really big part of my life. And I lost a lot of that coming down here. Moving to a new state, many miles away from friends, family, was really difficult. So getting back into that love and that passion for fitness, being able to text you every morning, comparing our stats. I always love some healthy competition, a little bit of a chase. So you seem like you're a little out of reach right now, but if you give me some time, I'll be a little bit closer.
Well, you were closing the gap quickly, so I love it. It's pushing me.
Yeah.
And you're getting after it, and so you've got this commitment now to like a daily discipline. It seems like.
Yes. So back in 2021, I did a program called 75 Hard, which was designed by Andy Frisilla. It's basically 2 45-minute workouts a day. One has to be outside, regardless of the weather. A gallon of water, 10 pages in a self-help book. Progress picture, and to follow a diet with no alcohol and no cheat meals.
Okay. So it's 2 45-minute workouts per day?
Per day.
For 75 days in a row?
75 days straight.
Okay.
No cheating. And if you miss, you have to start back at day one.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yep.
That's a lot of pressure.
So it's a lot of discipline, yeah.
And you did this back when?
Back in 2022.
And who'd you do this with? By yourself?
I did it by myself.
Okay. And what were the results you got? Like, what would you see as a difference?
Honestly, I'm going to say mental toughness.
Okay.
More than anything. I loved what it gave me physically, but mentally it changed my everyday lifestyle.
Okay.
Eating healthier, drinking a gallon of water, getting more sleep. For me, the sleep was huge. I've always struggled with sleep. I've never had so many wonderful dreams and, unsleepless nights in my life. Yeah.
I heard you say recently you're like a grandma. So what is your sleep routine now? Like, when do you go to bed and when do you wake up?
9 p.m. I am in bed.
Wow.
Every single night.
And what time do you usually wake up?
I'm not going to lie. Back when I was in New York, the hustle and bustle, it was more of like a 4:30.
Okay.
Being down in the South, having a little bit slower of a pace, it's more like 5:30.
Oh, what a slacker.
So I know, right?
So you're getting like a full 8.5 hours, 8+ hours of sleep. Okay, that's amazing. That's so healthy.
Yeah.
Okay, so now you've got, and what got you into fitness in the first place? Can you share a little bit of your personal journey?
Yeah, absolutely. So I worked in the healthcare industry. I worked for Northwell Health. So working in a hospital definitely brings some awareness, to being healthy and active. But I think everything really changed when my mom got sick about 6 years ago. She was diagnosed with brain cancer. And she had a really hard time. I mean, she had to relearn how to walk, talk, eat, everything. So just to be able to support her and be there, and for me to be in a healthy state of mind to help motivate her and keep her going, I think was a huge motivation for me, just to, keep myself strong.
Yeah.
And, like anything, sometimes it's really hard to kind of upkeep that lifestyle. So it lacked a little here and there. You have your days where, it's not always your best. But I kept going, and about 3 years after that, my dad was diagnosed with cancer. So my dad was actually a really big inspiration for me. He was known as a big runner in our small town where I grew up.
Really?
He wore a bandana, and everyone called him the Bandana Man.
Okay.
And he would run on the highway for...
I like a good bandana.
Me too. I'm very upset I missed it for Around the Crown. So next one, I'll have to bring that with.
Okay.
But 5 miles every day he would run.
Really?
I mean, unbelievable fitness enthusiast he was. So that was... I wanted to be able to show him that I was being strong for him, and that he could get through that and come out even stronger than, he started.
Okay.
So
that's awesome. So your parents' bouts with cancer led you to want to show your mental resilience and toughness and support for them, and what your dad had modeled for you is like kind of a well-known morning 5 miler, like 7 days a week.
Yeah,
okay.
7 days a week.
How early was he getting up to do this 5 mile run?
He's just like me, and I think that's where I get my early mornings from. He was a 5 a.m. guy.
Oh wow!
Every morning.
Wow.
Yep.
And so how are your parents doing today?
Wonderful. God bless. Thank you.
That's awesome. Okay, so now you signed up. When did you sign up for Around the Crown?
Oof. I'm going to say I didn't have as much ample training time as I would have liked. I think about a month before.
Okay.
So.
It's interesting. When I went to the expo at Camp North End.
The Saturday before, correct?
The day before, yeah.
Yes.
When I went to the expo to pick up my packet, and I'm like, we would get into our team and everything. They're like, well, you have 2 registrations, and since we had some join our team at the last minute, Scott, and we'll talk about Scott here in a second. I thought that maybe he put it under my name or something. I said, well, maybe it was Scott. They're like, no, it's not Scott. And so what's so funny is I actually registered twice and forgot. I registered once in late May and then in early August.
You were just so excited.
I guess I was so excited. I guess I got the email that said, hey, the prices are going up. So I registered again. So I didn't want to miss it. So we got registered. Now, I think I'd shared with you about the course. A
lot of elevation.
Yeah, I told you now there's some inclines there. So you have to work that into your training. So
yes.
What did you do to kind of prepare for the elevation?
So I love to be outdoors in general. So I took it to the trails.
Okay.
Very much like your son, a little bit of cross country. I tried to incorporate that in my everyday training. Unfortunately, like I said, it wasn't a little bit more towards the end is when I really did the majority of it, but very rewarding.
Okay.
Very rewarding.
Now let's talk about our team.
Yes.
Team Memory Maker.
Dream team.
Yeah, dream team. team Memory Maker. So we had me, and then you, and then we talked that Manny was on the team, but he had an injury that prevented he'll be there next year. So who else was on our team?
We had Heather's husband, Brian, and then your good friend, Scott.
Yeah, my good friend Scott. So Scott is a memory maker, and Brian is an honorable memory maker.
Yeah.
And Brian's doing different like hybrid training, and he ISI is what it's called.
Wow.
So he's not doing as much distance running, but he used to, so he wanted to participate. So Heather suggested it, so he got on the team, and then Scott Rader, who I had just done a shout out on like a GM call. To a few guys who we had talked about running together, Jamar, Dwayne Baker, Scott. I knew Scott had been a runner and was a runner because I've seen him in the stores. At events, we've talked about it. And so I get a text from him and says, hey, how do I sign up? So it's like a couple days before.
Yeah.
And I don't think he had been training. He said, I think this will give me the kick I need to kind of get back into training. Matter of fact, he met his wife at the Charlotte Running Company. He told me.
Way.
Yeah, he sure did. By the way, we have some props here. Why don't we just go ahead and give a shout out?
Yeah.
So when you sign up for a race, you get a medal. If you choose to get a medal, sometimes people say, no, just keep it. So this is the beautiful Around the Crown medal. And then you get this t-shirt, the Around the Crown shirt. Now, if you pay a little bit more, there's a nice long sleeve shirt that you could have gotten, but they were out by the time.
I like this one.
Yeah, this one. This is a short sleeve shirt, Around the Crown, beautiful artwork. And then you get some features, free socks.
I got pink.
You got pink socks. We're
Breast
good for
cancer awareness coming in October. Figured get on the train early, Charlie.
Yeah. Well, I did something a little bit different for this race. They were doing a preview run a couple weeks before from Camp North End. So I wanted to get used to going Saturday morning, going or weekend morning, going up there. And so I thought we were going to do actual practice run on the course. There was a group that got up there. We left from Camp North End, which is not where the race starts. And we did parts of the course, but then they would stop and talk. So it was a little bit different.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was a little bit, but it was fun to kind of go out there and meet the people and some of the players and hang out with them. Now, let's go through your like preparation leading up to like the day of the race. Like what was your preparation? Did you have your parking set? Were you? So
no. I'm not going to lie. I woke up that morning and I'm a little bit of a nervous Nelly. I know it doesn't always come across, but I was.
Well, I think to be fair, if you're not nervous before a big event, like you're going to get butterflies.
Right.
You got to get all, you don't have a pulse if you're not nervous.
Right. And it was my first, big kind of event. So did a little bit of my research. I kept the food light. I had one piece of potato bread with a little bit of peanut butter, a banana, and made sure to get my liquid IV in, so it was nice and hydrated. Unfortunately, it was actually, I should say fortunately, there was a huge line of cars right outside of the stadium where the parking garage was, so we were able to kind of sneak right in there. I was a good hour early. Wanted to go check out the field. I haven't really been into the city of Charlotte yet. So this was an awesome experience for me to be able to see many different parts of the city and be on the ground running doing it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so you got there an hour early. Did you start your stretching, your warm-up routine, or were you kind of doing more sightseeing?
So kind of funny because I didn't stretch. I never stretched before running.
Interesting.
I did some research that said static stretching is actually one of the worst things you could do. So I looked at my boyfriend who came with me at the time and I was like, maybe I should do some like dynamic stretches, movement. And he's like, I don't think you should change your course of training the day of the race, Caitlin.
Yeah.
So I didn't do any stretching. I just kind of did more sightseeing, took everything in and, made a few friends around. I mean, the running community is unbelievable, super supportive.
Yeah.
It's very welcoming.
Well, it's packed. I think they had over 4,000 people there.
Yeah.
And so we departed from in front of Truist Field. And so I don't think I didn't meet up with you or Brian before the race, but I met with Scott.
Nice.
Because I had his bib. I picked up his bib for him on Saturday. And so we met about 30 minutes before the race. And he said, yeah, I'm in Corral B. I'm going to run with you. I said, okay, great. And I was waiting. So my experience was for this particular race, I got to stay uptown.
Yep.
I want to cut the travel time out.
You did it right.
Well, so Kelly and the boys and I, we went to dinner. We stayed uptown, and so I could get a good night's sleep. And I actually do stretching. I do static and dynamic stretching before any type of cardio.
Interesting.
That's
if it works, it works.
I know some people who stretch afterwards. I'm 48 years old. You got to keep these. I appreciate the how funny you think that is, but you got to keep those muscles limber and loosened up. Preventive. But a lot of times when I'm doing my warm up, I'm listening to podcasts or an audio book, and so it's always like a 2-in-1. I'm not just like. Yeah, so that's what I'm doing as I'm kind of preparing for whatever cardio event I'm going to do. So I like to stay in the hotel, get up early, get my stretching done so that I'm not like stretching and then driving into the event. And I don't want to stretch on the concrete in front of everyone. That's at the park or something like that. So I get there, meet Scott. I've got his bib. We meet about 30 minutes before. We're talking and chatting and everything. And he's like, yeah, I'm thinking I'm going to run with you. I said, okay, that's great. Then he's like, well, I'm going to go see if the Charlotte Running Company can hold my phone. So he runs off, and I said, okay. And I didn't think about it. I could have just told him that my wife would have kept his phone because we were going to bring his shirt and his socks in a bag or whatever to hand to him after the race. And I forgot to tell him that before he ran off. So by the time he got back, we didn't connect before the race.
Really?
And they had closed off the entrance. I thought I might try to go to the restroom. I walked into the Truist Field. The line was way too long, so I was like, forget it. I don't need to go that bad. Yeah. So I came back to try to get into my corral.
Yeah.
And it was barricaded off.
Yeah.
So I had to go all the way around to the end. And I was like, corral E or F or something. It was like
all the way in the back.
Yeah, I was like, oh gosh, this is going to be kind of awkward. And so I didn't want to be that guy like
blows past.
Well, who's like, excuse me. I was trying, but there's like 3 or 4 minutes before the race started.
Yeah.
But other people were trying to finagle up. So I did try to work my way up a little bit. I should have been with like the 45-minute pace. I got with the 65-minute pace group.
Should have been flip-flopped, Charlie.
Well, but I actually think it worked to my favor. So even though I played a little bit of...
explain, yeah.
Yeah, so I played a little bit of Frogger for the first mile. What I mean by that is, excuse me, wedging my way through, because I'm going at a faster pace than the group I was with to start. However, it forced me to run slower for the first mile or so, which... I have found some of the mistakes that I've made in some of these races or in running, if I start out too fast, it's really tough to sustain it. For me personally, I like to start off with a little bit slower than where I'll end up averaging for the race. But if I can start slower, I'll build into it, and then I can just kind of maintain that for a period of time. So it forced me to start a little bit slower, and I wasn't getting frustrated because I was playing Frog. I'm not like competing with anyone. I'm just trying to,
compete with yesterday's Charlie.
Well, that's right. Actually, I thought that if I could do just as well as I did a year ago, that I was going to be content.
Right.
Because a year ago at the Around the Crown, it was a personal record for me for 10K at that distance. I was impressed with how I did. I said, hey, if I can just do that, I'll be content. So I played Frogger, and then I got. And the reason I'm telling you all this. So Scott and I were not connected. About mile 3, and the incline starts at mile 3. I was
just going to say at the climb, yeah.
Yeah, so right before the climb, and I listened to AirPods. I got my AirPods in. I listen to music while I'm running. I don't want to hear my feet. Trying to block it out, right? I'm just, let me get my thoughts. Scott did not have any music or anything, so more credit to him.
Yeah.
And so I'm running, right? And I just hear someone say, oh, hey. And I look, and there he is next to me. We had connected about 3 miles in, about halfway in. And so for the next 2 miles, we kind of just stayed together. And so we took the hill together, which was great to have someone just kind of
really motivate you.
Well, to push you, to help you keep going. Scott wanted to talk a little bit more, which was always funny. I'm like, I think he's talking to me. I got my music on, so I was like, I'd pull it out, pull one out of my ear and like say, yeah, we'd talk a little bit. But I was like, yeah, I gotta get back to focusing. And so then probably, and then as we went down a couple hills, he's like, come on, let's take it. He wanted to accelerate down the hills, which generally I'm okay with. But, so after about a mile or so, about mile 4, his pace, he was strong. He was going strong. And so he was moving about 5 or 10 feet ahead of me. I said, just go, you got it. And I'm trying to encourage him. You got it. Don't. He kept looking back to see if he's going to, but he ended up what he was doing. He didn't move that far ahead, whether by his own choosing or what but he was stayed 5 or 10 feet ahead of me. But he really paced me for the next mile or so because my body wanted to slow down. And so having him there to kind of pace me and push me to go forward really helped me keep going. And then around mile 5.5, I started feeling stronger and would then pass him.
Wow.
But I just accelerated through the end and ended up having my personal best results for a 10K. So I was really pleased with how the race went. And it was great to have someone there that we didn't see each other at the beginning, but then
that's incredible. I didn't know that.
Yeah, we found each other midway through and then kind of stayed together for the rest of the race.
Yeah.
And he really helped to pace me.
You guys chased each other. That's wonderful.
Yeah, so it worked out really well.
Yeah.
And hopefully he's continuing on his journey. So now, was this was your first ever 10K race?
First ever 10K race.
Will it be your last 10K race?
It definitely will not be.
Okay, so what are you looking at for the fall season then?
So I didn't know, but when I actually came home, of course, started researching right away other local races, what's around. So my 30th birthday is coming up, and I promised myself I was going to do a triathlon by 30.
Wow.
Unfortunately, with the move and everything, I don't think that's going to happen, but I'm going to say I'm going to do it in year 30.
Okay.
So I think to keep my running endurance up, my next goal for running will be to do a 15K.
Wow.
I know there's not too many around here, but I don't think I can jump to the half mile, so quickly. So I'm going to say 15K. I'm an annual member at the Whitewater Center. So been utilizing their mountain biking, trying to get those miles up, and just got a new pair of goggles and we have a pool in our backyard, so started doing some laps. And just I've really noticed that it's small increments give you big wins.
Okay.
So like I said, just small little bits. As you say, 1% better every day. It really adds up.
Yeah.
So
there's a goggle company that my mom just sent me the link to. They were on Shark Tank, and they started internationally, maybe in Denmark, and I think they're now based out of Charlotte. But they take like they use AI to custom design a contour perfect for swimmers and goggles. If we pause this, I'd go look at my phone and check it out. But I'll show.
I'm sure you'll send it later.
Yeah, I'll send it to you later. But that's great that you. So. There's different style. There's like Ironman triathlons. There's like half tri. So what distances are you going to do in your triathlon? And do you know where you're going to do it?
So originally I had planned to do the one back in Westchester. So right now I don't have a plan just yet. I think I need to get a little bit more training under my belt first. But I'm thinking the half triathlon,
which is what?
Which is 1 mile swim, 6 mile run, and 24 miles on the bike.
But you do the biking before the run, right?
It's swim, bike, run.
Okay.
Yes.
But you're not going to use a mountain bike, right? You have to.
No, I'm going to have to switch to a road bike.
All right. So when's your birthday?
September 22nd.
So you'll have from September 22nd through the next September 22nd to get you. So you've got about the next 54 weeks or so to get your triathlon in. Okay. Well, we're pulling for you.
Oh, thank you, Charlie.
More
you coming? You going to join me?
Caitlin, I'm not a swimmer.
Really?
I can do the biking and the running part, and I think I could do that pretty well. But if you're only going to do a half and do the 6 mile, why are you going to run a 15K? Because that's a 10K.
Right.
Just to keep your endurance up?
Yeah, I think just to keep the endurance up. In all honesty, like I said, I didn't think I was going to be able to do the 10K. So to be able to really see the perseverance in myself and to accomplish that, only up from here.
So what did you learn about yourself then? By the way, did you run continuously or did you have to stop?
I did stop, I would say, coming up that hill. I unfortunately couldn't make it the whole way. And like you said, unfortunately, I did come out a little too fast in the beginning.
Did you really?
I did.
Okay.
If I would have, I think.
That's that first race.
Those jitters. I was all excited. You start passing people. I'm like, wow, this is awesome. Yeah. So I think my first mile was like 9:40. Where when I was doing the elevation training, it really was kind of staying at 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So I should have slowed my roll a little bit there. But I re-fell in love with running, where I never thought that would be possible. I was a swimmer my whole life.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I swam in high school and college.
Distance swimming?
Distance swimming.
Okay.
Yep,
wow.
I swam the 500.
So you're going to slay that 1 mile.
Oh, that'll be a breeze for me.
Okay.
It was the running that I think is my biggest challenge. So I think that's why I want to keep continuously going up in miles.
Well, it sounds like you've got the DNA for it from your dad.
Yeah.
So that's great. I mean, a triathlon, that's awesome. How long have you had that dream or that goal?
A year.
Okay.
It's about a year.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, we're pulling for you. We'll be there to support you. So also talking about support, what do you think about all the supporters like above the bridges? And I believe I saw a Katie Patati sign that your boyfriend John made. So talk about the support that you witnessed above the bridges and kind of during this race.
I mean, his support was absolutely phenomenal. He's not a morning person like me. So for him to get up at 5 a.m. with Katie Patati, the fitness lady poster, and to be there cheering me on was really heartwarming for me. And like I said, just the running community in general, I think seeing everybody come together, and it wasn't just at that first stop. Almost every bridge you saw people. Yeah. People driving on the freeway on the other side would honk their horns as you're running. Like, just very, very motivating and very supportive.
So you're taking it all in.
Oh, I took it all in.
Yeah, all the external stimulus. You're very.
I was using it for energy.
That's awesome.
Yep.
And so what day are you in 75 hard right now?
So I finished.
Okay.
Finished 75 hard.
Are you on your second?
So I didn't start it yet. I think I'm going to allow myself, because I am going to San Antonio, Texas for my birthday.
Okay.
So I'm going to let myself enjoy that vacation, and when I come back, I think I'm ready for round 2.
Okay, wonderful. And what sort of fitness things are you doing besides biking, swimming? I know you're like famous for your
jump rope.
Aren't you big on social media on jump rope?
Jump rope queen, yes, I am. I'm going to try to get my following a little bit higher.
Okay.
But just this morning, even at the gym, I had one guy come to me and he's like, "You're having way too much fun with this."
Oh, really?
So
are you laughing while you're jumping?
Oh,
rope?
I laugh, I dance. Like, it's become a true passion for me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I have my moments where I'm really serious. I try to get my routines down. I learn new moves. Right now I'm actually working on a frog move, which is kind of a handstand while you're jump roping.
That sounds intense.
Very intense.
Okay. Now you're trying to get your following up.
Yep.
How can someone, like, you want to give a plug?
Yeah,
plug
so
for your
Katie Patati, CAITY, POTATEY_ is my Instagram.
Okay.
I'm also in the process right now of becoming a certified personal trainer.
Oh, wow.
Yep. So turning my passion into a reality.
She's a do-it-all.
Yep, that's it. I do it all.
And anything else you would say to encourage people who are trying to get into the fitness game, or how to start, or how it can impact their life?
Something my dad told me when I was a really young girl was winners never quit and quitters never win. You don't always have to be a winner, but you got to be in it to win it. So I think just really putting yourself out there and that 1% every single day. Motivation, unfortunately, doesn't last, but consistency and dedication does. And that will drive the results that you are looking for.
So you've got standards in place, right?
Yes.
That's the consistency. Like, you may not feel like it at the time,
right?
But the standard is, I'm going to do it, right?
No matter what.
And so you've got this standard of, and you got swimming, jump rope. Yep. I think you're doing maybe some yoga, some foam rolling.
And I think mentality has a lot to do with it. So I choose positivity every day. I think gratitude is another huge part. Wake up, you can walk, you can breathe on your own. Everything I went through with my parents, to be able to see that all of that can be taken away so quickly. I don't think any of that should ever be taken for granted. And we should wake up every single day and try to utilize and embrace every part of our body and our being.
Absolutely. And what is it like? How does it help having like a team to do this together with others? Like, does that make a difference?
Life-changing.
And how so?
I think the support that you receive from others around you, again, like I said, I love some healthy competition. So, when I see you up every single day, I want to get up every single day. I want to be that good. If not, I want to be better. So I didn't know we had this. I didn't know there was this competition here. I thought we were just encouraging. Well, I told you, you're a little out of my reach right now. I have some work to do.
It's we all have our motivations for what inspires us to get into it, right? Yeah. And motivation can, like you said, can only take you so far. Yeah. And then so I like having the goal. Yep. But I learned this from Ed Milet from his book, The Power of One. I like to buttress that or support the goal with a standard. Right. And so my standards, and I've been on this journey for about a little bit over 3 years now. And I'm at day 917. This morning was day 917. I'm trying to get to day 1000. So proud. Then we'll see what happens after that. And that's working out every single day. So I've done 75 hard, some version of it, 12 times. Yeah. I'm on the 13th time right now. But to be honest, so that's why I have to do a lot of stretching to protect kind of the body. And I had some health issues that had to get resolved. That's what was my initial motivation. But there's a lot of times where dealing with an ache, a pain, a lack of motivation, but if the discipline is, I'm going to do it every day. Yep. I can't sacrifice that, right? Because that's an opportunity cost. If you don't do it, that's once you get a streak going, you don't want to break that streak. Right. And then you learn to put in other standards, like, okay, this becomes my new minimum that I can do. Okay, so I won't go below that minimum if I can help it. So now my minimum is 100 miles a week. And so through a combination of biking, Peloton, running, or walking, mostly biking and running and Peloton, I have to do 100 miles a week every week, plus some strength training and different things like that. So that's the standard. And then just try to excel every single day. And everyone's got different goals and different things like that. I've been able to do, I never dreamed of being in a long, I don't think people necessarily look forward to being a long distance runner. Yeah, I was more in the short burst sports, like football, basketball, even baseball or something, or tennis. And now I enjoy pickleball, but long distance running, it takes a certain mindset, it does. But it certainly helps you appreciate the grind and, working towards something. And you can have a lot of good reflective thoughts. It can work. There's a lot of good I think it can cascade into your work life and to kind of help clear your thoughts and to force discipline into your thinking and to your kind of your mental models, if you will. So I do think it goes kind of part and parcel with kind of a healthy mind, body, spirit, soul, all of that.
Exactly.
So we've got Team Memory Maker, Around the Crown. I'm assuming we'll do Around the Crown 2024.
Yes, we are.
If you want to join Team Memory Maker, we'd love to have you. If you want to join the journey and get on the early morning texts and the little competition and or encouragement, hey, hit us up.
We're here for it.
All right. So that's it. Anything else, Caitlin, for your first podcast episode on Stories from the River?
Super grateful to be here and super grateful to be a part of Team Memory Maker. Thank you so much, Charlie.
Awesome. Thanks for all that you do. Thanks for hopping on. This is a little bit of a different speed, but we want to talk about an event that we did, which was, now we've done it 2 years in a row. The Around the Crown race is Team Memory Maker, and we'll keep it going. So thanks for listening. Wherever you listen or watch your podcast, hey, we're on YouTube. We go to a lot of work to make the videos available, or we're on Amazon, Spotify, Google, or Apple, which is what I prefer to watch my or listen to my podcast. And so let us know, hit us up, give us a subscribe or a like, or just send us a comment. Let us know what we can do better, what kind of content you'd like to see. So Caitlin, thanks so much for being on Stories from the River.
Appreciate you, Charlie. Thank you so much.
Thanks for listening to Stories from the River. To check out more episodes, visit storiesfromtheriver.com. Join us again next week, and remember to like, rate, and subscribe to the podcast.